What up, YouTube? It is your boy, JB, here again with the review for the haves and the have-nots. This is season 7. I don't know why I put episode season 8, but this is season 7, episode 12, One Way or Another. So this is basically a continuation of the last episode. I have a question. How long have we been dealing with this situation with Candace and its $8 million? Is it 2 seasons or is it 3 seasons? I don't remember. Just asking the question. But let's move on. All right, so this episode picks up where the last one left off with Jim and his son with Celine. The only thing that I was saying the whole time was like, dude, if you just don't shoot that motherfucker right square dead in the middle of his forehead, he'll die. I mean, he'll go to jail, but he'll die, and I'll be happy. Then we find out what homie's name is. His name is Jimmy. I'm like, oh my God, Celine, really? You named him after Jim? Girl, can we talk? Now, I get it. You know, Jim probably put it down on you, but why would you name your child after that asshole? God, I would have shot that bastard. That's all I was saying about the whole scene. I was like, damn. It would be really nice to just see somebody shoot Jim, unlike Wyatt, who shot him and didn't even barely hurt the motherfucker. God, Jim is an asshole. But it turns out the gun was a fake. Like, the gun was a fake. I'm like, oh, great. The gun's a fake. Cool. I would have preferred for Jim to die, but I mean, it is what it is. Now, over at the jail where Catherine and Wyatt, well, technically it's just Catherine, she's still screaming for the guard. And then there's this woman in the cell next to her talking about, bitch, shut up. And, you know, I'm like, but the woman's son just tried to kill herself, so have some compassion. And the black woman in the background said the same thing that I said. Have some fucking compassion, bitch. Her son just tried to kill herself. She says, well, bitch keeps screaming and I'm trying to sleep. And I'm just in there thinking to myself, even if the bitch is screaming and you trying to go to sleep, you got somewhere to go tomorrow? You're in jail. So I don't really know where you're going the next day that you got to get your beauty rest, but you know, okay. So then her and the black girl was about to get into it, and the fact that she just kept calling Catherine a bitch, you know, I would have been like, you know what, bitch, you lucky that there's a cell right in between me and you. Because me and you would have a time of, I would be wearing your bald-headed ass out. So, child, I died laughing. So here's the scene that I was talking about in the last video where I died the fuck laughing. Mama fucking Rose. So these fools got Mama Rose in a cell by herself with a motherfucking recliner. I cracked up. I'm like, she is not in a cell with a goddamn recliner. A recliner. Like, so this is like, you know, a penthouse suite for her. And that's the thing that was the one thing that kept going through my head this entire episode when it comes to the Malones. Now I get it. They're a mob family. And I get it. You know, when it comes to the mob, I know that the mob typically has, you know, cops that are on their payroll. But I've never known for them to have an entire police force. Motherfucking asshole. I've never known for them to have an entire police force at their beck and call. So that was what kind of got to me. So once again, Catherine is still screaming for the guards. And Mama Rose was like, I can help you. She was like, I don't want your help. And I was like, Catherine, I don't know who Mama Rose is. She's never met Mama Rose. Okay. So then Mama Rose calls for, I think his name is Officer Miller or something like that. So he comes in. I mean, he like a dog when you whistle for it. He came immediately to Mama Rose's beck and call. And you know, Catherine's like, so this bitch calls for you and you come running. He was like, shut up. She was like, no. What about my son? He said, shut up. And then he finally told her that was Mama Rose. She's like, who? Mama who? Yeah, that's Mama Rose. So now Catherine got some act right, just like with Jim. She got some fucking act right. So, and the fact that Mama Rose was making all the calls, she wanted to go to sleep. All the heifers in the cell, everybody ready to go to sleep, sit down and go to sleep. She asked them to turn the lights off. They turned the lights off. I'm like, well, goddamn, how much control does she have? I mean, they're in Savannah, so how much clout? Shit, that ain't even clout. That is just fear of her. Wow. And we're going to really dig deep into that whole situation, but I'm going to hold off on it for right now. But let's move forward. All right, you guys. So over at the hospital, Wyatt's alive. No shock there. I knew it was a surface. I knew that had to at least be a surface wound. I didn't think he did any damage to himself. So it's just like pretty much like a baby cut. So he's ringing the bell for the nurses to come in, and the nurse comes in and she tells him she's not giving him any drugs because it's just basically a surface wound. So then the guard, now here's what really got me, the guard. So she asked the guard that he wants some coffee. He says, sure. He says, I'll go with you. She's like, what about him? He says, oh, he's not going anywhere. I'm just like, wait a minute. I've never saw something like that happen. I have never saw something like that happen in my life. Like, I had an uncle who got sick when he was in prison, and they brought him to the hospital close to my home, because actually it wasn't close to our home, but it was kind of close. They brought him to the hospital, and we were able to visit with him, but there was a guard outside of his door 24/7. Like, he couldn't, so I was just kind of confused, like, where the fuck they do that at? I don't give a damn if it's the county jail. They're not letting you out of their sight. Hell, with my uncle, when he came to my grandfather's funeral, they were on him like white on rice. So I was just thoroughly confused by it, but I'm like, you know what? If that's what you want to do, we're going to let them have that. So then Jimmy goes to visit his brother. I'm like, oh, God. And Jimmy realizes that Wyatt is not much different from Jim. So, he's talking about the fact that he feels like, Jim's money could help his mom and his brother. I'm like, why would you want... You see what type of person Jim is. Why would you want anything from him of all people? No. And then Wyatt's about, Jim took his inheritance from him. I mean, shit, you was going to blow it away on drugs, so shit. Wyatt is so pissed off about that, but dude, you're on drugs. What do you expect people to do? I mean, you just want people to let you just blow all your money on drugs? I mean, hell, if that's, maybe that, Wyatt just has a death wish, I feel. I know Catherine and Jim are two fucked up people, but goddamn, at some point you gotta take a look at yourself. So here's the other scene that took me out. Jeffrey and Madison. So Jeffrey is in the bed with Madison. They done had sex. Jeffrey decides to do the fucking splits. I'm like, oh, he did the splits. He did the splits. He was trying to do a handstand. And I'm like, oh, and he still is on his head about going to fuck at Veronica's. I'm like, absolutely not. Do not take your black ass over to no goddamn Veronica's house and have sex. So Madison is getting ready to go, and Jeffrey's like, are you sure you want to go? Because, I got something up for you. I'm like, oh. He's like, Jeffrey, we've already had sex 3 times. I'm like, oh, damn. So y'all gonna go for round 4. Oh. Okay. Okay. Now Jeffrey is talking about how, Madison is different. Yes, he's a lot different. Well, I don't necessarily... There's something off about Madison. I don't know what it is. I can't quite put my finger on what it is about Madison, but I don't 100% trust Madison. But I think he's a lot better than that damn Justin. But let's move on. All right, guys. So we see Veronica's crash test dummy. I put that in there because I couldn't remember what the girl's name was, but then they said her name. Her name is Laura. But for now, we're going to still call her Veronica's crash test dummy, because that's all she is the crash test dummy. So, she's showing her boyfriend the clothes that Veronica gave her. I'm like, girl, your elevator must dumb ding. Because why would someone give you their clothing? Like, you just started working for her. She's letting you drive her car. She gave you her clothes. I'm like, bitch, are you setting me up for something? Because that is just weird. But, she don't see it. That's why I say her elevator just doesn't ding. So then, her boyfriend tells her that they need to talk to Derek. So then he does come over and, they tell Derek that they're in. So I'm like, oh, so this is a setup with Derek. So Derek tells, she goes into the room and Derek is telling the boyfriend that, basically, he has the PD. They need to get all the money from Veronica and the accounts. He tells her, be careful with Veronica. I mean, she likes him young, but watch your back with that one. So then he says, how does she feel about it? He says, oh, she's jealous, but we're going to get the job done. So then, Derek is kind of apprehensive about Veronica giving Crash Test Dummy her clothes. And, he's like, why? He's like, because she got an agenda. I'm like, you goddamn right she got an agenda. She's trying to get the bitch killed. Period, point blank. That's all she's trying to do is get that bitch killed. So then we see Marty. So he's meeting with Don and John. I think that's their names. You guys, I really don't know these two clowns' names. The accountants. So he shows them that, Catherine gave power of attorney to Hannah. Now, they're upset about this because, they've already moved the money that they're taking from Catherine. So, Marty tells them, like, we need to abide by this. These are her wishes. Now, what they want to do is they want to try the competency route, saying that she's not competent enough to make these decisions. How's that going to work? But Marty would have to do that. I don't know how two accountants can sit there and go in front of a judge and talk about someone's competency. That would have to be a doctor or her lawyer. Unless y'all finna bribe and pay somebody. You know what? They just might. So then, what's his name? Marty. Marty tells them that, he'll set up a meeting the next day for them to talk to Hannah and they can ask her whatever they want. I'm like, okay, that's not gonna work out, especially when they find out that she's black. I don't think that's gonna work out too much when they find out that she's black. But let's move on. All right, next we see the devil incarnate, aka Veronica. She's having sex with the little homie that was in the pool. Now, I'm like, damn, is he doing anything to her? Because she just laying there like a fish in a fish out of water. Because he just, what's my name? Does it feel good? I'm like, obviously it doesn't, because you don't hear a moan coming from her. Because, she's just sitting there. She's like, what is that that is tickling me? I'm like, oh my God, now what is that is tickling her? She did not say that. And then she looks at his dick. I'm like, oh, she finna clown the shit out of him. And yes, that's exactly what she did. Talking about his dick is small. I'm like, I was just sitting there thinking to myself, I'm like, we know you get around Veronica, so is it the fact that his dick is too little or that you're... I'm just saying. So don't judge me, y'all. I'm just saying, is it the fact that his dick is small or you're just loose, Veronica? No shade, no tea. Just asking questions. Gotta ask the questions. Questions. So then Don and John, they're pissed because, like I said before, they've already moved the money. And, they still want to go this I think it was, now see, I don't know who was who right about now. So that's why I'm pausing. I believe it was Don that said that he still wants to go this route of the competency thing. He also wants to talk to Jim, but John is telling him, no, let's not do either one of those things. What we can do, however, is the maid. She doesn't know anything about accounting. So if anything goes awry, we can always blame it on her. And I'm sitting thinking to myself, like, that is so not going to work. That is not gonna work. And then I feel like, ooh, I can see it coming. If something goes awry, they gonna play the race card against her. You know, she's black. She ain't never had no money, so this was a perfect scam for her. But the gotcha would be for them is that we all know how much, you know, Catherine loves and trusts Hannah. So she would never believe that Hannah would do anything malicious towards her. So that's what's going to backfire with Don and John, with them wanting to set up Hannah. The fact that Catherine is just never going to believe that shit. All right, you guys. So then we see Hannah. So Hannah is still at the bar. And, you know, Mitch, Vinnie, and Candace are still trying to get her out. So Candace tells Vinnie, that, you know, you got to go. He was like, they're not going to hurt her. She's like, you damn right they're not going to hurt me. And then once she leaves, Hannah, you know, Candace says you got 45 seconds. So, you know, in 45 seconds, she hadn't moved her ass. And so Candace calls her goons, and they come in there and take Hannah out of the bar. I'm like, God damn, Candace, come on. Your own mama. You gonna have some niggas manhandling your mama? Because they were really manhandling her. But, I mean, shit. It got her out of there. But let's move on. All right, you guys. So, next, let's discuss, where we at? David. So, David returned home, you know, and then there's some chick outside of the house named Alyssa. And she is friends with Erica. And, you know, she told him that she has something for him from Erica. I'm like, really? The same Erica that blew up in the car? The same Erica? Oh, God, I still remember. I cannot see that either. When Erica blew up in the car and that skeleton that was in there. That skeleton of Erica, that was hilarious as fuck to me. But yeah, she said that she has something from Erica. She says, I don't want anything from Erica. I'm like, yeah, okay. She says, well, she told me to come over in case something happened to her. So it's a video that she has for him. And Erica in the video professes her love for David. You know, she was talking about how she was, you know, he was a mark at first, but she did really fall in love with him. And what else? I forgot. It's Erica. You guys, if you guys know or don't remember, I didn't care for Erica when I was talking about her last season. Hell, I don't really care for David, to be quite honest with you, because David just really gets on my nerves when it comes to his whole good boy, his old massa act when it comes to Jim. So then Alyssa, she's trying to come on to David. She wants him, I mean, because, you know, Erica talked him up so well, and she's begging for him. She says, I'll get on my knees for you. I'm like, oh, yeah, not on that ground, but okay, if that's what you want to do. So then we see Oliver, and Oliver is scoring some drugs from the guy that, you know, he had come to Detroit. I still think there's some sexual undertone there. It still feels very sexual, although Oliver was sweating like a slave in heat. So now this was confusing as shit to me. So Oliver's dad doesn't like Charles. He's trying to make a fool of the president-elect, and then he's also trying to run for president. So I'm assuming in 4 years his dad is going to try to run for president to... Yeah, never mind. I guess I didn't understand that part. I didn't really understand a lot, but I mean, I got the gist of it. So then Oliver asks, oh boy, like, you know, what does Jim have him doing? Is he following Candace? He says, no, I'm not following Candace. It has nothing to do with Candace. No, it has everything to do with Veronica Harrington and taking her OUT. So then we see David. So actually, before we see David, we see Alyssa. Alyssa has gotten down to her underwear and she's in the fountain. The guard is trying to get her out of the fountain. David is in the house, however, watching her. Madison comes downstairs and, you know, he's telling David, you can look at me. I'm like, David is not, at this point, Madison, it really ain't got nothing to do with you, because David ain't even focused on you. David is focused on Miss Alyssa, who's out there in the fountain, half-ass naked and wet. So, you know, Madison goes outside. He does. He's like, yes, bitch, work. Yes. And so yeah, so then we see Benny. So Benny is on his phone, and I guess he's looking at Derek's court case, and he realizes that Veronica was on the case. So he calls Veronica. Veronica answers the phone, and she asks him why is he calling her. He says he asked her, if she knows, Derek. She says, well, if you know I was on the case, then I know him. He's like, so what is his address? And she tells him her address. She's like, that's your address. She says, yes, I'm horny. Come over. Bring 2 condoms. The small one's like you use. I'm like, girl, what is your... So yeah, I'm starting to wonder if Veronica is just loose as a goose to talk about these men's penis size. I'm just saying, you guys, don't judge me too much. Now here's the final scene of the episode that took me all the way the fuck out. So Uncle Vinnie and Sandy and the rest of the family go to the police station to get Mama Rose. The officer that arrested her, he tells her, why he arrested her, and that he was the one that arrested her. So Uncle Vinnie wants Mama Rose released from jail. He says, no, you're gonna have to wait till morning, for the courts to open. And Uncle Vinnie's like, do you know who I am? He says, yes, I know who you are. He says, so you're telling me no? So yeah, he's telling you no. He says, I need you to get out. Mind you, he's scared when he's telling him to get the fuck out. So one of the guys go and covers up the surveillance camera in the police station. Uncle Vinnie then takes his gun out and shoots the dude in the head. I'm like, so we really are sitting here shooting people in a police precinct? We're shooting a cop in a precinct. So I'm assuming the Malones own the entire police force. How? I do not know. But you guys, we're just gonna leave it there. That is going to wrap it up for me with this episode review. Very interesting start to this second half of the season. I enjoyed it. It was funny to me, so I had a good time with it. I can't even complain about it because it was actually pretty good to me. So yeah, be sure to like this video, you guys. Leave your comments, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell notification button so you guys are aware of when I drop anything else. Share this video, and until the next one, you guys do me a solid favor out there. Stay safe, take care of yourselves, stay hydrated, and I will see you guys later. Bye.